Um, so I would say most of these jokes from Jessica, I probably heard it before. Um, uh, I think she did talk about the Padres at one point. Um, she did talk about her fiance. Um, but I would say she was an 8 out of 10 for a comedy. Um, I believe there was a Stephanie Brinnis. Um, I remembered that she talked about her energy level, her vibe is the same whether or not she's on her period. Um, that was kind of funny how she mentioned that. She did dress up as a vagina on Halloween when I went to that show from Adrian Diaz. And kind of intense. I would say she got some attention. She got some good laughs. She was probably an um, 8.3 out of 10. Um, and then I believe we got a performance from, I believe her name was Jessica Alondes. First time hearing her. Um, she did really well actually, and she got a lot of good laughs. Um, she talked about being single. Um, and then I guess there's something she said that it was better for her to be single than her being married or yeah. And then I guess she said I think she said she had a kid, and being a single mom was better. Um, so the fact that she got a big ovation and a lot of laughs from her set, I would say she was probably an 8.6 out of 10. Um, I think she might have been the best comic on the showcase. Um, and then the person after her, I believe it was Sandy Guerrero. Was kind of the same jokes again with the three unwise men. The screen name she shared when she was making a phone call to a patient. Um, um, so yeah, I would say Sandy was probably. I mean, it got a better reaction at this show than it did at the Valleys. So I would say she was probably I would probably say a 7.8 out of 10. And then we got our headliner, Eren Gonzalez. Good seeing her before and after the show. Um, I think I talked to her and said goodbye during the show to her because she was leaving early. Um, yeah, I think she talked about um, I think she went and then met her kids' teachers, and then apparently one of her kids mentioned to the teacher that she's single or something. And then Eren was kind of wondering why are you trying to set me up. um, and then I think she talked about how she was married to a no, she was going out with a married guy. Um, so I would say Eren did really well. She got some good laughs from the crowd, from what I can tell. And I would say Aaron was a uh 8 8.4 out of 10. So so that was the showcase, and then we got the guys showcase. and Danny Ragu was hosting that one. And I remembered Goo went up pretty intense. I would say it was 8 out of 10 for his comedy. Got some good laughs from what I could tell from half the room or less than half the room. Um, uh, then I believe we had Ben, not Ben, Ellie Reckler. Ellie Reckler went up. He didn't get a lot of laughs for his stuff, so this is probably maybe the second, third time I've seen him. But I kind of felt he didn't do so well. um, I did see that he brought his girlfriend with him, but yeah, um, crowd did not laugh too much during Ellie's set. I would kind of think that it was probably a 7.1 out of 10 for his comedy. Then we had Nick Flair. Nick Flair, I think he talked about his height during his set. Got some good laughs though. So let's say Nick was probably let's say 7.9 out of 10. Um, who else? Tommy Lacerda. He was there. Um, he had some dark comedy. Um, he got some laughs during his stuff. Um, I would say that Tommy was probably 7.8 out of 10 for this one. Um, let's see. Um, I guess the last guy to go up, I believe it was Austin Train. Um, Austin Train did talk about his grandpa, his dad, something about autism, something about trains because his name was Austin Train. Um, and I think he talked about Michael Jordan too because I think he was from Chicago as well. Oh, and the fact that uh, he talked about how he looks like a cop, and somebody in the crowd said that they did drugs, and it says, "Ha, this is all a ruse. I'm a cop. You're busted." Um, so uh, I would say Austin did all right, but I think at that hour on Wednesday night, um, I'd probably say he was probably a 7.9 out of 10. And then we did get our roast battle, and other than maybe Jessica Alanes, and then the roast battles might have been the highlight of the show. So Lucey Love and Fedwon Somo, they were about even, and I liked a lot of the jokes they used on each other. Um, there was one I think Lucy said to Fedwon that the reason why he got stage time is because he used his belly button, uh, I guess, to get apparently special favors uh, with the producers, Danny and Adrian. Um, I guess it has a sexual innuendo in there somewhere. And then I guess um, Fedwon kept talking about Lucy's facial appearance. Um, uh, I think she talked about, I guess something about at least your dad likes me. And then apparently there was a joke about, I guess Lucy said to Fedwon that at least I don't roofie myself during masturbation or something. And then he replied back, well, when it comes to you, I would rather roofie myself. Something like that. And that got a lot of laughs. And honestly, with all the stuff they're with the rebuttals and their jokes on each other, like it was about even. But I think they did like a one more joke as an overtime, and I think Lucy got the nod over Fedwon based off of the voting of the crowd. Um, I mean, I've heard like after the show that they thought that maybe it was kind of even, and then maybe Fedwon or Lucy just barely beat the other, but they gave it to Lucy. And apparently, with that, Lucy would now face the winner between Roast Queen Audrey Hebert or the Taylor Spencer. So that one, um, for that one, um, so for that one, um, I guess Audrey and Taylor talked about how they don't get invited to parties. I think there was another joke where Taylor said that Audrey looks like a hot girl that was left in the dryer too long. And then I guess uh, um, Audrey said that Taylor is is what she would look like if she was left in the rain too long, and that got me laughing quite a bit. Um, uh, and I think with that, I think Audrey beat Taylor. Um, so I guess the next time there's a roast battle, it's going to be Lucey Love versus Audrey Hebert. Honestly, between the four of them, between Taylor, Audrey, Lucy, and Fedwon, they would do so well roasting each other. And that's the kind of thing that you should probably bring to the roast battle at the Comedy Store when Pat Barker, Brian Moses, and Gordon Downs are going to run it. I mean, they would do so well because those jokes work well on each other. And they're quick thinkers when it comes to rebuttals and when it comes to making jokes and then coming up with another joke. So I did enjoy uh, the roast battle between Lucy and Fedwon, and I did enjoy it also with Taylor and Audrey. So I would say the roast battle between Lucy and Fedwon, I would say that was probably an 8.6 out of 10, and the one between Audrey and Taylor, I would say it was probably an 8.4 out of 10. So if Lucy were to face Audrey, I would probably go and see that one. um, so yeah, fun times at the Good Bar. I did have an aristocrat Philly cheese sandwich, Philly cheese steak sandwich, without the cheese, of course. Um, so yeah, that's a good place to have. They have chicken tenders, good burger, good bar burger, um, and I believe there was no minimum, no drink or item minimum for the comedy show. So it's a good place to go. If you're on Rosecrans Street off the eight and the five, just keep going straight on Rosecrans and you're gonna hit the Good Bar in Point Loma. So great location. Um, that was Wednesday. Oh, so um, I did go to the mic drop again on Thursday night, and it was for the Dope City tour. Um, The headliners were Tim Hanlon and Matt Bellak. I met them before about last year, sometime last year. Um, I connect with Matt because we talked about UFC, talked about UFC events after the show, and I actually saw him kind of standing in like the comics area, just kind of like seeing how the show goes before they get called up. And I did like a fist bump, and we acknowledge each other. Um, so I'm kind of glad that Matt does remember me a little bit. Um, so the show had started with Evan Cassidy, but he's known as Eric the Cashman. Um, he has some funny stuff to say on stage. Talked about how I guess he said he has a black wife or a black girlfriend. And of course, as he said that, there is a black lady, two black ladies in the front, and another black guy in the front. And I mentioned that because I sat by the stage and I could tell from their facial expressions the whole night that they were not really laughing the entire night. They barely laughed. Um, but yeah, um, uh, and I think as the set went on, Evan kind of lost the crowd just a little bit. Um, so I would say he was probably an 8.4 out of 10 for his comedy. He did bring up Zach Stein next, and Zach Stein did manage to rub his nipples on stage and his big belly as part of his comedy set. Um, that's all I remember from his set. Uh, I would say, he might have got just slightly more laughs from the crowd than Evan did. So I would say he was probably an 8.45 out of 10. Um, and then we brought up one of the two headliners. Matt Bellak went up first. Last time I saw them though, Tim Hanlon was actually before Matt Bellak, but this time Matt Bellak went first. So they trade off headlining, I guess. So Matt Bellak did talk about how he was annoyed by his nephews, one of his nephews, when he was younger, and I guess there was something about the nephew said something, and apparently he got yelled at by the mom, and apparently, I guess, gave the nephew, Matt's nephew, a piece of cake. Um, but then now said that the nephew has grown up. He's on the football team. He's tall, and now towers over Matt Bellak, because apparently Matt Bellak is what they call a posse, according to him. So, and then Matt Bellak did talk about um, uh, he talked about blowjobs, and um, he wants to talk in the middle of it and then give appreciation for even doing it. And then he mentioned about giving the girl that's giving him a blowjob a gold star, and then mentioned some stuff about bronze stars. So it was a lot of fun stuff. And I guess we established that in the crowd there was sisters in the crowd, and one of them was a lesbian and the other was straight. So, so that's Matt Bellak did kind of establish a little bit of crowd work, and later on, Tim Hanlon kind of fed off of that. So, um, but overall, I would say Matt Bellak was 8.6 out of 10 for his comedy. Then we got um, Tim Hanlon came out and Uh, I remembered him talking about how he wants his daughter to not date boys because it's a nightmare, and establish that since he mentioned that he did kind of point out to the crowd that the lesbian sister of the twins, and then mentioned how he wishes his daughter would date someone like um, the lesbian sister. Um, and then he also talked about not liking dating younger girls. Um, he likes to date pretty much a lady that's close in age to Tim Hamlin, and explained why. Um, he did some crowd work. Apparently, talked to some of the black guys near the front row. Then went back to the twin sisters. Um, so, uh, I would say Tim Hanlon was probably um, 8.5 out of 10 for his comedy. So if anything, I would say Matt was probably the funniest of the four guys. And then after the show, I got a picture with all four guys. I got to sit with Delina Horchata, and I got to meet her friend Gabby. Um, Gabby Moriara, Moriara. So it's kind of cool sitting with other, um, getting to know them, and it looks like they had a good time. I could tell they were laughing at a lot of the stuff that was said on stage by Matt, Tim, Zach, and Evan. So I'm glad we all had a good time. Although I can't say the same for that one black lady in her table. And the comedians actually acknowledged that too. So they were trying not to look at them, but even though they're right there front and center. But yeah. Um, so hopefully, I'll see these guys again down the road. Um, it's weird. I think I've seen Zach Stein before. I think I saw him at the Comedy Store. But yeah, but second time seeing Matt Bellak and Tim Hanlon. So um, yeah, I would say it's a good show. Good crowd. It wasn't sold out, but good crowd. Good, good crowd for the ones that came, and overall good show. Um, so yeah. Next time I talk to you guys more next episode about UFC Fight Night, Ankalev versus Johnny Walker, and the NFL playoffs, and how there's a lot of snow in Buffalo, and how it's so cold in Kansas City, -30 wind chill, -9 degrees on the field. Yeah, I heard that tickets were like down to $40 at the Kansas City Chiefs playoff game. So those are good deals, but you have to deal with the cold. And I think there's some footage of guys shirtless at a -9 Fahrenheit football game. Uh, More power to you to be that brave. Anywho, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. You know the saying goes, boom, Tiggy Maximus signing off. Baby. All right, guys, talk to you guys later. Make sure to have good food, good company, watch some good actions, and good comedy shows. There, guys. Booyaka.